I hope you didn't miss this on the last episode of Eric the Car Guy. Finally got the rear suspension out. The rest of this is likely going to be a fight. Yeah. Here's a look at what's going to happen in today's episode. No. I'm good. Greetings, viewers. Eric the Car Guy here. A very tired Eric the Car Guy, because since we last saw each other, I have just been working 12-hour days on this car trying to get it done. Anyhow, these are the things that I've done to make me so tired. One of the biggest things was I de-rusted the undercarriage of the car, and then I went through and coated it with rust protectant, POR 15. I also went through some of the suspension components and I cleaned all the rust off of those and coated those with Eastwood's rust encapsulator. So all the rust has been knocked off and encapsulated, if you will. And I have to give a shout out to Milwaukee Tools on this, because you see this drill? It still works. This drill and this box of wire wheels are pretty much what I took just about all of the rust off on this car with. And believe me, it was a tedious process, and probably a lot of you are in the same situation. So if you've ever spent a weekend on the ground with a drill cleaning off rust, well, you know what I'm talking about. In addition to that, I've pressed in new bushings to the lower control arms in the rear, pressed in new bushings to the rear struts, cleaned all of those things up and put them back together. I kept those as original as possible because I feel the suspension is just fine the way it is, and I tested all those components. They're not leaking and they're all working, so they're going back onto the car. In addition to that, I've cleaned up the fuel tank, the top of the fuel tank. You might remember it got all rusty and yucky. That I did not use any power tools with because of fuel vapors and that kind of thing. Instead, I did that all by hand with a screwdriver and a brush, and then I cleaned it all off. Don't want to make sparks around fuel tanks. I pressed in new front wheel bearings into the hubs. So the hubs all have new front wheel bearings and everything. I removed more panels on the inside of the car, but in doing so, I found a little more rust behind the B-pillars. I addressed that rust also with the rust encapsulator and scraped off all the loose bits and everything. So that has been addressed as well. The idea is to bring this thing back to as close to original equipment as possible. But a lot of people call this OEM Plus because I also have additions like the exhaust, and I'm adding a catch can as well. Now this is the original PCV system. This little tube used to be what the crankcase pressure would pass through in the past. I'm opening that up to a 10 AN fitting, so that's much larger. I've got to make a bracket to do this, so a little bit of custom work, and well, hopefully we'll have it in there and all plumbed up and well, ready to let this engine breathe. There's sort of a catch can that's on this engine already that's mounted to the back here. I've removed it and installed some 10 AN fittings. And also there's a plug that goes in where the old PCV system used to go. So that plug is here, 2 new AN fittings that I'm going to use to connect hoses to the catch can that's up there. I plan to utilize these 2 points that are already here for the bracket. Yeah, 15 looks good. Looks good. Drill's still going. And these fasteners are just kind of placeholders. Deburring tool. Hours worth of work. Hopefully it works. Done. Okay, bracketry and everything is installed, and I wanted it in this position because I have, if you saw a drain valve on the bottom of this, I put a ball valve on the bottom. Usually there's a different type of like radiator valve or whatever that come with these. I didn't want to use that. I wanted to be able to contain the condensation and gook that collects inside this catch can, hence the name catch can. So I've designed the valve and its positioning to where I can reach down and reach that valve just like this. And I have some tube that I'm going to run to a conspicuous place underneath the vehicle to where you can just put something there. There it is. Drain for the catch can. That's all I have for you today, viewers, but be sure to hit the subscribe button and notifications so that you know when the next episode comes out. And if you missed any of the previous episodes, I'll link those down in the description so you can get all caught up. Also, I will be linking any parts, tools, any additional information. Check the description for that, including if you have automotive questions. There'll be a link to EricTheCarGuy.com, which is where I ask that you go for those automotive questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty, and I'll see you in the next episode.